All right, welcome folks to another episode. This one's a little different. We're going to start off a new segment here. Obviously, we've ranked albums, we've ranked songs, and this time we're actually just going to go through someone's catalog, one album at a time, real quick, give you the parameters, and pick what we feel is the best song off the album and the worst song. Now, when I say worst song, it doesn't necessarily mean we hate it. We just feel that that's the weakest track on the album or our least favorite of the songs on the album. So, however you want to spin it, and I'll tell you exactly, on it when we hear it. When I go through each album, I'll tell you exactly what I mean on what it means to us when we pick that particular song for that choice. All right, so. Today's band we're going to do is none other than Styx. So we're going to go through the catalog starting at the beginning, which was, we go all the way back to 1972 for the debut on Wooden Nickel Records. The album peaked at number 207, so it didn't even make the Billboard Top 200, but somehow they got it listed as number 207. Um, because it was on what they call the bubbling under top LPs chart. So that's how they arrived at the number 207 when there's only the top 200 albums. So it was on like a chart that was a bubbling under chart they had. Okay, so getting on with that album, it was produced by John Ryan and Bill Trout, recorded at Paragon Studio in Chicago. And we're going to tell you that on this album, we feel the best song is Right Away, which was written by Paul Frank, lead vocals James J.Y. Young. And yeah, I think out of that album, it was a little tough to pick which one, but that one we feel was our overall favorite. And I don't hate the songs. It's got some really interesting parts, but the movement for the common man is what we call our least favorite, only because there are parts of it that are not exactly what I like. I do like certain parts of that song. I just don't like it as a whole because it groups in like four songs together. So that's our take on Styx, the debut. And now we are going to go to the second album from Styx, which they cleverly labeled Styx 2. Um, Came out also in 1973, and it ended up going gold on the strength of Lady, obviously, and it peaked at number 20 on the charts, also on Wooden Nickel Records, which was the early label for Styx. So going back to the album, obviously that's our number one choice for our favorite song is Lady. It stands out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the album. The song I wasn't too keen on was Earl of Roseland, so I got to say that that's definitely the worst song on the album. That's how I'm going to phrase it there. Um, don't totally hate it, but obviously out of all the other songs on the album, that's the one that stands out to me as being the worst. So that would be our take on Styx 2. And the next album from Styx was the same year it came out, 1973, a little bit later, like October 73, peaking at 192 on the charts. The Serpent is Rising. And this is an interesting album, to say the least. Um, so we picked the oddball track on here. It's not actually, it's kind of part of, so we'll say as bad as this. It's got the hidden track, Plexiglass Toilet. So many Styx fans that go way back know what I'm talking about. That's an interesting song, but to me, it's the one that stands out above all the others. So that's why I picked that one as my favorite. And I didn't like the last part of it. It's a 2 minute, 14-second Hallelujah chorus. Just didn't really get into that at all. I don't know why they included that on the album. They could have just left it on, off the album, and it would have been probably a stronger album to say the least. But that's what I got for the least favorite Hallelujah chorus off of The Serpent is Rising. And going to the next album, which obviously comes to us in the form of 1974's Man of Miracles. And the Man of Miracles is the last of the Wooden Nickel albums. The first four albums were released on the Wooden Nickel label. It was produced by John Ryan and Bill Trout. And yeah, Man of Miracles is seemed like you could definitely see that the band was, you know, starting to really write more songs that were a little bit more um how do I say, they were like the Dennis songs, you can tell they were more ballady, classical, and more prog. So it was a lot of more straight ahead rockers too on here. So it was a good mix, had a diverse sound compared to the first other three albums. So we're picking Having a Ball, the James Y lead vocal on that one, which the song itself was written by JY and John Zerlewski. And the song that we gave as their least favorite, and that's what we're calling it, just our least favorite, is Christopher, Mr. Christopher, kind of an odd title. Obviously, it's a Dennis song. He wrote it and sang it. Um, so Christopher, Mr. Christopher is our least favorite on the album. And that is going to take us into the A&M years. And boy, oh boy, these ones were tough to pick our favorites from. So we'll begin with the first album, 1975, all the way back to the first A&M, the gold release Equinox, peaking at number 58. And Equinox was just listed as produced by Styx. So that's how they got it labeled there. And I would say, probably I would say JY and Dennis and were the main ones that were producing it here. And so this one had a bunch of songs we could have picked as our favorite, but after further review, there's only one that really stood up to go all the way up to the top. You know what I mean? And that was none other than the exquisite, sweet Madam Blue. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that song on this album. You can I love Light Up, I love Lorelei, but Sweet Madam Blue was like the pinnacle, top dog on this album. Um, no doubt about it. That didn't even really come up in discussion when I was ranking these here. The song I didn't want to pick Prelude 12 as the because that kind of is a prelude to Sweet Madam Blue. So sometimes when they pick preludes and these little instrumental beginnings here and endings, and sometimes it kind of ruins an album sometimes in some cases. So I just left it alone. I picked Born for Adventure as the weakest song on the album. I really liked the other ones a lot more, and Born for Adventure, while it has some cool parts to it, so I'm just going to call it my least favorite. We're not going to say we hate it or anything like that. Just our least favorite, Born for Adventure. And you're going to probably see a little bit of a theme with these albums because there really is not really too many bad songs on these ones for sure. And that takes us to where Mr. Tommy Shaw comes into play. And his first album with the band, 1976, Crystal Ball. October 1976, it reached number 66 and it has been certified gold. And yeah, I don't know when the last time these things were updated, but I would assume that this one would have to be platinum by now, I would think. I don't know. But Crystal Ball, marked the recording debut of guitarist Tommy Shaw, and his debut track, Mademoiselle, was the vocal debut. But we're picking the title cut as our favorite. I mean, there's not a better song from Styx than Crystal Ball in my estimation. I love that song ever since I heard it, um, going way back in the day. And yeah, the title cut by a mile. Crystal Ball is the top dog on this album. And Least favorite, um, picked Shoes. Not too keen on this song. I'm not, it's another Tommy Shaw song, lead vocal, but I don't know, something about it. I just wasn't, just loved the other ones better. So Shoes is Snooze was Shoes, I guess, is my take on that one. So that one obviously comes from Crystal Ball, 1976, and then from there we're gonna start a real run of triple platinum albums here. All right, so 1977, The Grand Illusion. Interesting album because it was released on July 7th, 1977, and was their seventh album. So pretty cool. Reached number 6, and this is the album that really put them on the map. The other ones kind of helped get them to that point, but the Grand Illusion pushed them right over the right on the map there. And I would say there's no song on the album that stands out more than "Come Sail Away," the great song that Mr. Dennis DeYoung wrote here. This song is the song that to me it just kind of they Styx ends every show with it. That it's just one of those songs that has stood the test of time, and rightfully so. It was a great song on the album, and it's just one of those things that no matter what you say about Styx, "Come Sail Away" is a song that everybody knows, whether you're a big fan or just acquaintance of Styx. Regardless, "Come Sail Away" is a huge song, no doubt. And the song that I could do without on this album was the grand finale because it kind of gives you a little rundown on the whole album. I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I would have rather taken another song or, even leave it out because that was simple because there was no other song that I could have picked other than the grand finale just because every song on this album is solid. So by default, the grand finale, but I wouldn't even have put it on the album. There was no need. Okay, so our next album is Styx's eighth album release, which came out in 1978 and appropriately entitled Pieces of Eight. Another album, 3 times platinum, and this is the album where Tommy Shaw really shined on. Um, yeah, what a great album this one is here. So for the best song, this one was a little tough, really was. I had a couple songs, like 3 songs I could have chosen here that Sing for the Day, Renegade, Pieces of Eight. I really like I'm Okay. But the song that obviously that I didn't mention is the one that I picked, and that is none other than Blue Collar Man. Lyrics are great, vocals are great, just a great solid song. Always loved that one, and definitely to me the best song on this album. I used to like Renegade more. But over time, I think Renegade is just I don't know. I've gotten bored with it a little bit. Not sure if it's because hear it all the time or what, but yeah, Blue Collar Man is my favorite song on the album, or the best song, and I tell you, it was tough picking the worst song, but not sure how you pronounce it, but a Q would definitely be it. It's got like a whisper chant vocal there, almost 3 minutes long. Obviously, it doesn't match up to the rest of the album, and it ends the album. I don't know. I don't know why they put bands did this in the past. Sometimes it works, depending on if you're Pink Floyd or somebody, where you can put on some kind of a song that isn't really an actual song, but that's the one I can do without on here for sure. And that's going to take us to the next album. Came out in 1979, and this is kind of where a lot of things started happening with the band. Still went triple platinum. They got a number 1 song. Amazing. Um, Seemed like the rest of the album though, because they did have a number 1 song. I feel the rest of the album really got a bad rap because it didn't really seem to I don't know. I think the focus was all on the single and the rest of the album just didn't get a fair shake on the radio, but the way I'm looking at it here. But I'm gonna go with a little surprise here. I'm gonna probably shake up the foundations here. I got Why Me as my favorite. And I'll tell you, I've always loved that song. Dennis song. It was actually tough. I had to play these songs back to back to back. And just at that particular moment in time, it just slightly edged out Lights and Boat on the River, both two great songs in their own right. But I had to mention them because it was a tough choice between the three of them. And the least favorite, we're going to go to Eddie. Yeah, I just don't like that song. Just not my cup of tea. So Eddie is my least favorite on Cornerstone. And we're going to shoot on over to 1981. And where does that take us? That takes us to the Paradise Theater, another triple platinum album. So if you're keeping score, that's four in a row, all triple platinum. And this one, Paradise Theater, reached number one. So it beat Cornerstone, which was number two, which I think I failed to mention. But Paradise Theater was their only first and only chart topping album and came out in January of 1981. Just missed that 1980 cutoff there. But Paradise Theater, what can you say about this album? This was a concept album. I felt, this is one of those albums where some of the little pieces in the middle kind of work and help make the album better. AD 1928, obviously, that opens the album. AD 1958 closes it along with State Street Sadie. Um, so overall, I didn't take those into consideration. So for my favorite song off the album, though, I'm picking a dark horse here. Something that another one, kind of like Cornerstone, one that never got airplay, one that was not released as a single. It's one of only two Tommy Shaw lead vocals, and it's not too much time on my hands, folks. Yeah, I'm picking She Cares. You talk about a rare deep cut. Um, yeah, She Cares. I had that one or Snowblind, which was a co-lead vocal with JY and Tommy. I just like She Cares better. I think the song flows smoother. But don't get me wrong, Snowblind was right on its heels real hard because it was down to those two when I was going through this album here. Had to play them a couple times to really make my decision here. And that's the fun part about it, going back and listening to these albums again and seeing, where it stands right now. Had I done this 2 years ago, I would assume I'd have a different outcome for that choice as my favorite. But I think this song I'm going to bring up as my least favorite would still have been here, and unfortunately, that's the half penny, two penny, the JY lead vocal there. Yeah, not a big fan of that song. Kind of we get the best part of the album more in the beginning, the first so many tracks, and then after Snowblind, it kind of just kind of closes out with a snooze, really. Um, but still, don't get me wrong, a great album. And half penny, two penny is okay. It's just compared to the rest of the songs, that's the one I'm picking as the least favorite here. And now we're going to none other than Kilroy. Kilroy was here all the way back to 1983. The platinum release, Kilroy, peaked at number three, came out in February of 83. Another one on A&M. And yeah, this one was pretty simple. It was pretty simple to pick this one here. Obviously, Kilroy was also produced by Styx, so they didn't have like a solid producer. But we all know the story. If you're a fan, that you know this is Dennis's concept, Dennis's baby, and This definitely, regardless of, people say Roboto killed the group or whatever, this album definitely killed the band. I mean, let's be honest. At this point, there was already, tension behind the scenes and everything, but this was it. This tour just did not do well and it just bombed and people just weren't happy, with the concept of it all. But Mr. Roboto really is a decent song, really good song actually. To me it stands out more than any song on this album, and there's no doubt that we picked that as our favorite, Mr. Roboto. And the song that I'm picking as my least favorite is none other than High Time, the Dennis DeYoung song. Just not a fan of this song. Definitely puts me to sleep. So High Time is my least favorite off Kilroy, and that's that. So Tommy leaves, the band kind of breaks up, and they finally get back together in 1990. October 9th, 1990, we get a new album featuring Glenn Burtnick on in the band, and yep, Edge of the Century. Ended up going gold, on the basically on the strength of Show Me the Way, which was a huge, massive hit for the band at the time with the Persian War going on and everything. People adopted it as their theme song and um, definitely received a lot of airplay. This one to me was a tough choice to pick, only because there was a lot of songs on this album that go. They're 10 in all, but I mean, at least they were all songs. There was no filler or bits and pieces of small portions of songs or anything like that. So I actually got my favorite is All in a Day's Work, 4 minute and 11 ditty, written by Dennis and Glenn, and lead vocal by Glenn Burtnick. Um, I've always liked this song. I felt it was probably Glenn's strongest song, strongest vocal on the album. And yeah, definitely my favorite on the album for sure. And the least favorite is the closing song on the album, Back to Chicago. Yeah, for some reason, that song is definitely the one song that I just can't get into on the album. The rest of them are tolerable. Back to Chicago, not so much. So that closes out the A&M years, and that is going to take us now to, um, the band. Finally got back together for the Return to Paradise tour. 1999 seen them finally release a new album. Yeah, so this is the Brave New World. Came out on CMC 1999. Peaked at number 175. So yeah, Styx was definitely having problems selling albums at this point, and Brave New World is definitely not their greatest album. Although there are some really good songs on here that I really enjoy, just not enough of them. But Brave New World, I got as my favorite track here is none other than Brave New World, the title cut. Songs stood out for me since day one on the album, and it's head and shoulders above anything else on the album by a mile. And of course, that one is written by JY and Tommy, but sung by Tommy. So that's where you got our best song of the album, the title track. Least favorite, no contest, as the least favorite. Although there's a lot of songs that aren't that great on here, but I'll tell you the Dennis DeYoung song, High Crimes and Misdemeanors, Hip Hopcracy. Yeah, what a piece of garbage. Leave it at that. Worst song on the album. Probably one of the worst Styx songs you'll ever hear. So sadly, that's my take on it. Um, so that's what we got for Brave New World. Next album they came out with was 2003. They finally came out with another one. This is going to be the first album without Dennis DeYoung, and all the other albums going forward do not have him on. And that's going to be Cyclorama, peaking at number 127 on Sanctuary Records. And yeah, this album features Glenn Burtnick back in the band. Oddly enough, this time he's playing bass. And also Lawrence Gowan's first album with Styx. So he had been touring with him since '99, but Lawrence Gowan is here, and a couple good songs on here. So it wasn't an easy decision on which one to pick. I mean, there's a couple that I really love. I love Gowan's Fields of the Brave. I really like that song. It's a classic, but it wasn't, I don't like it enough where I picked it as my favorite. I stuck with the old traditional Tommy Shaw song, and that is none other than Together. For some reason that song's always struck a chord with me, and that's the one I chose here for Cyclorama. And I don't know why they recorded this song again. Really cheesy version. I really don't know. Maybe they were just trying to fill space. Um, does feature background vocals by Brian Wilson, who's obviously from the Beach Boys, but yeah, we could do without fooling yourself, palm of your hands. We definitely don't need that. So that's definitely the easy one to pick that shouldn't have belonged there for sure. And so that brings us to out of nowhere, took 12 years, but in 2017 we get a new Styx album. And that is none other than The Mission. And that's 12 years from The Big Bang Theory, by the way. It was actually 14 from Cyclorama. Big Bang Theory I didn't count because obviously it's a covers album, so it's whatever you like on that one you can pick for yourself. We don't really do cover albums, only original album material. So Mission 2017 peaking at number 45 and was reproduced by none other than Will Ivankovich and he had a big hand on significant role here, co-wrote all but one of the full-length tracks. Um, it was conceived in 2015 by Tommy Shaw. Um, so obviously he had a hand in all the writing as well. This one was not easy to pick. These two songs, the best and my least favorite. But I do have Radio Silence as my favorite. I don't know, that song always stood out the best in concert when I seen these guys on this tour and as well as on the album. So I went with Radio Silence. And for the weakest track on the album, I picked Trouble at the Big Show. Not too big of a fan. JY sings on this one. Just not a fan of this song. So that's why that one was pretty cut and dry there to pick from. And from there, 4 years later, out of nowhere came Crash of the Crown. 2021, peaking at number 114. Also on the same label as the Mission Universal Music Enterprises they go under, UME. And so Crash of the Crown was another album that was produced by Ivankovic and so similar to the previous album, features a lot of Tommy Shaw. He had a big hand on this album along with Will. Um, it's got a lot more Gowan on here though, which is cool to see. And so we went with our favorite song was Our Wonderful Lives. Kind of a little different Styx song, a little different flavor. They did it live, and I think it went over really well. I really enjoyed the live version that I saw earlier this year, actually, in April when they came to the Seneca Niagara Event Center. Um, that was a full regular Styx show, so we got to see that. And my least favorite, I think I went with Stream, the last song on the album, 2 minutes and 56 seconds long. Yeah, not a fan of that song. They could have cut that off, and I wouldn't. No, I don't think anybody would miss it. So there you have it. There's our favorite and our least favorite from each album. And yeah, so anything there, if anybody has any opinions, um, leave them on the comments below when you see it, because obviously there's a lot going on here with trying to pick these songs, favorite, least favorite. It's not an easy task to do sometimes, especially on these albums where they really don't have a bad track on. I'll tell you that made it a lot tougher on me. But anyhow, there you have it. We're gonna try to do more of these down the road. I hope to have somebody else on here so we have some more opinions going, where you can see two different takes on it. It's just I had some guys that I mentioned this to, and they kind of thumbed their nose up at it and didn't want to do it. So I said, okay, I'll just do it myself. Um, because I wanted to do the whole catalog. I had somebody mention they only wanted to do the A&M years, and I'm going, well. I want to do the whole catalog. That was the whole point of the matter. And yeah, obviously, as we know, Styx have made really some really good albums over the years that aren't on A&M. So that's why I said, okay, I'll just do it myself. Other than that, stay tuned. More episodes down the road. We got a couple more top 10 song albums coming, and put some requests in. If you see, don't email me at joseph at rockshowcritique.com. Give me your take on anything that you care to would like to see on the channel. We're game to do whatever, and I got a lot of help here that can climb aboard if need be. And thank you for tuning in. And as always, please subscribe